Over the last several days, I have planted 7 new bare root fruit and nut trees. Did I really need them? Maybe not, but I wanted them. Hi, I'm Kim, and I live here in Northern California on my 2.5 acre property, City Oasis. I love growing perennial veggies and herbs, and I have an ever-expanding fruit and nut orchard, in addition to my 100-tree old-growth olive orchard. After months of rain, much more than we usually have, we are finally experiencing a warming trend and some sunny skies. I'm so much enjoying it, and so are all the trees and plants. So yesterday I planted my new nectarine tree, and I'm going to share that process with you today. It's really simple and doesn't take long, not complicated at all. I did it all by myself like I usually do, and you can too, but there are some very important details, some essential information you do need to know before you go about planting your bare root fruit and nut trees so that your new trees can thrive in their new home. So let's go ahead and get to planting. All right, so here I have a bare root nectarine, and I have my hole pre-dug the right direction, and I say direction because you want the roots to have plenty of room, and these roots run north-south because of course you want your graft union, which is right here, to be facing north or northeast to protect it from really strong winds and to lessen the amount of sun scald it might get. So it looks like I did a pretty decent job eyeballing how much space this tree needs, but it needs more than this. I need to dig a little bit more on the north side and a little more on the south side to give some more room to these roots to spread out. And then we're going to rebury it with this native soil, which is a mixture of clay and broken down wood chips that I have piled in this area of the garden. And lastly, we're going to bury it right to here, which is where it was buried to in the nursery. We definitely would not want to cover up that graft union. That would be quite bad because you'd end up just having suckers, lots and lots of suckers grow, which means that most bare root fruit trees are not going to be buried very deeply. Roots often run horizontal, almost always actually. And often the graft is lower down on the trunk, meaning you have only a little space to bury. And also you don't want the roots buried too deeply. So you'll want the crown to be near the top of the soil. But just look at this massive root system, really nice. And this tree's gonna do very well. All right, you can see that I have filled the dirt in under the roots. You can do this by making a hill or a cone shape right underneath the root structure and then draping the roots down over it. Fill that in though, because you don't want any air pockets to get to the roots. The roots need to be surrounded by soil. Now I'm going to cover the rest of it up and we'll see how it looks at the end. There we have the finished product. Took me about 10 minutes altogether to plant that. Of course, I did soak it beforehand for about 40 minutes. So let's look at the top of it now. You can see it has a nice structure, scaffold system in place already. That's highly desirable. Not always what you find though. I picked over a lot of different trees before I decided on this one. And you can see that it's been cut off right there. I may go ahead and take that off entirely, but I think I am going to let that one outward facing, east facing bud go ahead and branch out because there's nothing really going in that direction from the trunk. However, I'll probably do a little more pruning. For instance, this little branch right here, even though it has some pretty little blooms on it, will probably come off because we have this branch right here below it going in the same direction. But overall, it does have a nice, pretty even and somewhat horizontal structure to the scaffolding. This tree originally was about 10 feet tall, maybe even a few feet more than that, and I cut off all of those upper branches and the upper trunk to leave it as it is, which is about 4 feet tall at the moment. And what is it? A desert dawn nectarine. And I do love nectarines, one of my absolute favorite fruits. And just look at these gorgeous blossoms. So you can see the bed behind the nectarine tree to the east of it is a mess. It doesn't have anything planted in it. It has a taken down trellis and some a big long, I think 15-foot tall dead sunflower stalk. Oh my gosh, look, there's a bee. You see that bee? Flying around, buzzing around. Yep, very cool. Anyway, in this bed here, I put the nectarine tree here, not just because I have space for it, but the same reason I planted the other 4 bare root fruit trees. Well, actually one of them is a nut tree and almond tree here yesterday in the garden. And that is because I want to give certain beds in my garden a little bit of filtered shade, because we get such extreme heat and blazing sun for 2 months of the summer, July and August, where the temp is regularly between 100 and 115, 16 degrees Fahrenheit. It's just really intense, and absolutely no rain, of course. So a little filtered sun, a little afternoon shade from 2 p.m. on would be most welcome by many plants, many veggies. So that's why I made that choice, in addition to the fact that I would like to have more of a food forest feel. So I'd like just a little bit more shade for myself and a little bit more a variety in what's produced here. Last year I planted a lot of extra perennials, veggies wise, in the garden, like rhubarb and asparagus and more kales. And now I thought I would mix that up even more by integrating some fruit and nut trees into this garden. And just 1-2 days out, I'm already really appreciating and enjoying the feel of it. Well, it's getting later, the sun's going down, but I had to come back and show you how it looks in the end, with its little guard around it to protect. I never get any rabbits or mice back here chewing on plants, but just in case. Plus, the other benefit is that, as I said in my part 3 video, I believe, of my bare root plant series on how to plant bare root fruit trees, one of the steps is that you do put a guard around the tree so that the mulch that you put down, which I've got wood chip mulch here, 4 inches deep, does not go right up against the trunk. And that is so your trunk doesn't develop rot. Very important. So yes, I've got all this nice mulch around the tree, which will protect it, retain water, and just do an overall great job of helping this tree be healthy and productive. See how easy that was, and fun too. Let me know what fruit trees you're growing, or what ones you have your eyes on that you'd like to plant soon. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments below too. Remember to check out the other videos in this bare root trees series, because they all have a lot of good information with them that should help you make the best of your bare root fruit tree investment. Now, wherever you are, have a wonderful week, and remember, until next time, happy growing.